Okay, friend, here's what's going on. Here I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico, invited here to help bring a Texan perspective to cooking 100 pounds of brisket. So we got 100 pounds of brisket. We got about 120 pounds of brisket. Some really big 14-pound packer cuts. So I'm going to trim them up, and somehow or another, we're going to take what I've got here, and 40 hours from now, we're going to use these. One full-size grill top, one smoker with 3 racks, and another smoker with 1 rack, and we're going to get 100 pounds of brisket cooked Texas style to feed this for the 4th of July. So stick with me, this will be fun. Well, the best place to start is with a good cut of meat. These are USDA choice packer cuts. Minimum is about a 13-pound, maximum is about a 15-pound. These are nice and flexible and ready to trim. It gives us a lot more control over the flavor at the other side. I like to start my trim on the bottom side, where the fat cap isn't, and I get rid of all the large pieces of fat that are sticking on it and all of the silver skin. A lot of this is a membrane that just can't be digested, and we get rid of it. Now there's a lot more work to do on the top or the fat cap. Contrary to popular belief, you do have to get rid of this or it simply won't cook through the meat. Another thing that will happen is it'll block the profile flavorings that are coming from the rub on getting into the meat. So I like to eliminate this down to about a 1/4 inch of the fat. And you really don't need much. The fat that's inside of the meat, or the marbling, is what cooks, and the long cook helps to break that all down. So it makes that collagen start disintegrating. But as you see, we're getting rid of a lot of lard that's out here that otherwise would insulate from the cooking and stop that flavor from coming through on the rub. So I get rid of it down to about a 1/4 inch. Now don't worry too much about getting aggressive on the fat cap side. You want to get rid of most of the fat. You want to get rid of the gray fat, some of that mottled looking fat. Again, if it looks like a big nub of fat, it's just going to drip and render, maybe even have a fire hazard. So you want to get it off. And we want to make sure that the brisket is trimmed so that it cooks evenly on that thickest side. So on some of it, I even get rid of some of the top meat. It just burns through, and what I really want is to get the rub into that well marbled piece of meat underneath it. So don't be surprised if getting maybe a 14-pound packer cut, you end up cutting 3 or 4 pounds of fat off of it. It's not uncommon. Also remember that in the cooking process, you're going to lose another 30% of the fat or the weight. My rub is just a mix, half and half, sea salt and black pepper. Mix them up, I put it on real liberally, and again, not so much of a rub, but a press down into the meat. Now it's time to get the meat onto the cooker. And we like to do this as early as I can because I'm usually looking for, well, between 12 and about 14 hours of cook time to cook through a 10 to a 12 pound brisket. And here I'm using a stack smoker as well as another barrel smoker, and I get to compare the differences. This stack smoker works really well to give enough space between large pieces of meat and still get some good smoking done. On this profile for these, I'm looking to do about 5 or 6 hours, or about at least half of the cook time in the smoker, and then we're going to transfer these into the oven to help finish it off covered in foil. On a long smoke, I shoot for a temperature between about 195 and 250 on the smokers. This ensures that it's going to cook nice and slow without burning. So I watch that temperature and make sure I've got a good gauge on my cooker. We got 5 of them onto the cookers. They're looking pretty good. Got a Smoky Mountain Great Outdoors cooker. I got an Ideal cooker, which is less than an ideal. Let me tell you my review about that cooker. And then I got a new Braunfels smoker, which actually is not too bad. We got it split off. Got one going on it, looking pretty good. You see, they're not too bad. Here I am lecturing everybody else about opening these doors, and I'm going to open the doors to show you. But this is our plan. We got a total of 5. Look at that, Steve. There's some smoke for you. So we got 5 going. Got 4 more for tomorrow. See if we can get these 5 done. 4 more. Tomorrow will be pretty easy. Now I just found out we're not feeding 150 people. We're feeding 215. So here we go. I'll give you a report. I don't trust.
I'm reading 410 on the outside. That thing doesn't.
At this point in the cook, it's really just a matter of monitoring the heat, making sure none of it gets away from you, keeping the smoker running, so make sure you've got some smoker blocks or some type of smoking material that's working, and make sure you got a cooler full of beer because you're going to sit there and just be bored for a while. But monitor, and of course anything could happen. Here, the sprinklers go on, so we had to deal with that and move some things around, but again, anything can happen. Be ready. All right, coming off the pit tonight. We got some pretty good action. What you got, Steve?
157?
I think.
Oh, that's pretty 167, 177.
That one's been cool all day.
137. 137.
Okay, let's wrap these first. So folks, what we got is, I think that this is our winner today. Between Steve, I'm gonna bring this up. We're pretty much in agreement that this thing failed, right?
No, I don't think so.
You have a little faith in it?
I labeled it.
But now the new Braunfels smoker's done a pretty good job over here. There's 1 brisket. But we got this propane set up here with 3 in it, and it's kicking butt.
That propane is the bomb.
Kicking butt.
Now.
Got a poodle. Nice little poodle. So what we got? We're at 11 p.m.
Okay.
We started on 2 of these at about 4 o'clock.
Now.
The other 3 that are coming out here have been in there about 5 hours.
Yep.
We're wrapping them now.
Okay. Up with the cradle. Yeah. Up on the side of the cradle. Okay. And now, 1 more the length of the card.
At this point, we wrap the meat because the smoking process is pretty much done. To keep smoking it now would bring it in a little bit too much and make it a little bit too much of a bark acid taste. So we wrap them, keep the flavor in, keep some of the rest of the moisture in, and anyways, this is a real consistent cook in the oven from here. So, on to the kitchen. Get them into the oven.
I've got the heat off on here.
Okay, so where are we at on the cook here, Steve? We got
about 9 o'clock. I think it would only be proper to taste how that tastes, and then you're gonna smoke the other 5.
Enjoy your meal, everyone.
So, what happened?
We pulled it off.
We pulled it off.
That's what
We rocked this place.
Came out good.
And we had 268 people. Definitely one, 2, 3.
So that's Austin style barbecue. What do you think of that, Clayton?
That's excellent.
That's good, huh?
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, it looks
You guys
like
did a great job.
yeah, and we might have almost fed everybody. That's 268, you said?
I think
Anyway,
So, is this the last of it?
No, we got more. We got 2 in there.
Okay.
okay, that's the last going out of how many pounds we had? 130. 130, and then trimmed down to maybe 118. Look at that. Excuse me.